If you've been following me for a while, you know that I make my own vanilla extract and I'm a little bit obsessed with it. I just think it's like the base of all the desserts. Like everything isn't vanilla flavored, but it has vanilla in it. It's almost like adding salt. It perks up the flavors of everything else. It makes a great base for all the other flavors. And so making your own vanilla extract just makes it that much more special. Let's just talk about vanilla beans for a second. One, people often ask why they're so expensive. Well, vanilla beans come from orchids and they're difficult to harvest, and it's expensive to make a really nice vanilla bean. So it's time consuming. They're not entirely plentiful, so that just the supply and demand and what goes into making each vanilla bean drives up the cost. So they're expensive, but they're worth it. They're just absolutely amazing, and they make your recipes more amazing. There's 3 different kinds of vanilla beans. There are vanilla beans that come from Madagascar. These are the most popular or the most plentiful. There's different grades of vanilla beans. So these are from Madagascar. These are grade A. And what that means is that they're larger, there's more moisture in them. They're just a higher quality of vanilla bean. This is also from Madagascar, but it's a grade B. Let me just show you next to each other. So look at that. You can see these are smaller. They're kind of withered a little bit. They're dried. These are called grade B. Still, they're gonna be great in an extract, but like these are terrific if you're gonna use them in a recipe. They're nice and supple. You can get all of the nice seeds out of them. These are a little drier. See, they don't really wanna bend. They're dry, almost like a bark. So they're still usable. They're still gonna add beautiful flavor to your recipes, but they're not as high grade as the A. Okay, so those are both from Madagascar. Then there are Mexican vanilla beans. These tend to be the biggest ones, the plumpest ones. They have almost like a little bit of a spiciness to them, but they're big and fat and really, really have a lot of seeds in them. So those are the Mexican ones. And then the smallest ones are the Tahitian vanilla beans. But they're small, but they're mighty. So unlike these grade B Madagascar vanilla beans, these are nice. They're small, but they're nice and plump. They're nice and supple. They're just fantastic. So those are basically the 3 different types of vanilla beans that are available. They're all great. You should try them all. You can use them all in your vanilla extract interchangeably together. You can try doing like one type of bean in a vanilla extract, or you can mix them all together. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so let me show you how to cut a vanilla bean. So for the purposes of cutting into a bean, I'm gonna use this Mexican vanilla bean. Like I said, you wanna make sure that it's really nice and soft and supple. It has an oil, so those oils are gonna get onto your fingers when you touch them. Flatten out the bean. This will just make it easier for you to slice. Flatten out the bean, lay it down onto a cutting board. Take a sharp knife, a little paring knife, start at the top here and just run your paring knife down the length of the bean to cut it open. And then you can open it up. And what we're going for are these seeds. Scrape the seeds out, and that's what we want. We want to have those little tiny black seeds. They're coated in the oil. That's where all the flavor is. That's what's going to give your recipe that vanilla, intense vanilla flavor. So if it's nice and soft and supple and oily, that's exactly what you're going for. So we just squeeze that right out of the bean. Get the seeds right out of the bean. This is what will go into your recipe. So if the recipe says 1 vanilla bean scraped, this is what you will put into your recipe. So like if you're making a pastry cream or vanilla ice cream or just about anything, that's what you'll put in. Don't throw out the bean. We will use this bean to make our extract. So you can scrape out the seeds, put them in your recipe, save the bean for your extract. Never throw it away. There's lots and lots and lots of flavor left on your bean. Next, I'm going to show you how to make homemade vanilla extract. To make vanilla extract, all you need are vanilla beans and vodka. That's it. 2 ingredients and you have magic. It's like pure gold for your recipes. The more vanilla beans that you use, the more intense the flavor of your vanilla extract is going to be, and the quicker it's going to mature. The kind of vodka you use doesn't matter. Don't spend a lot of money on the vodka because you're going to be infusing it with the flavor of the vanilla bean. Now, some people use other kinds of alcohol to make vanilla extract. I like to use vodka and vodka only because vodka has very little flavor on its own, and so it really absorbs and takes on the flavor of the vanilla. Other alcohols will compete with it, so if you used rum or bourbon, you're gonna get that flavor in your recipe. Not a bad thing, but it's competing with the vanilla. So you just have to know if you're using a different kind of alcohol, you're gonna taste that in your recipe. Now, speaking of bourbon, a lot of people confuse bourbon vanilla and think that it's made with bourbon, the alcohol, but it's actually made with Madagascar bourbon vanilla beans. That's the name of a vanilla bean. So it has nothing to do with the alcohol. It's still made with vodka. It's just that the vanilla bean is called a bourbon vanilla bean. Okay, so all we have to do is split open our vanilla beans and then put them in a bottle. Make sure that you have a nice clean bottle. I tend to use empty alcohol bottles. This is a beautiful sake bottle. I like this bottle because the shape is so beautiful. It does have a screw top, so you need to keep track of that because it has to have a top on it. These bottles that have the top right attached to the bottle are really awesome because then you know you won't lose track of it. Either way is great. I've done them all. The size doesn't matter. Obviously, 2 different sizes. This one's gonna need a lot more vanilla beans and a lot more vodka to fill it up, and this one a lot less. These teeny ones make great gifts. I'm gonna go ahead and use this bottle. I have just over 20 vanilla beans sliced and ready to go in. So if you were using the seeds from the vanilla in a recipe, you would just take the bean that you've already scraped and place it right into your bottle. If you have the grade B beans that are a little bit drier, they're not as plump, you can't really scrape them, you can put those in whole. Some people do all of their beans whole. They don't bother to slice them and scrape them and put the seeds in separately. They just put the whole bean in. You can absolutely do that, but because the bean isn't sliced, because you're not dispersing the seeds, it's going to take a lot longer to mature, and you're not going to have the intensity of flavor. There isn't a right way or a wrong way. It's just the way that you prefer it. I prefer to have the seeds go in as well. So if I have the seed, I'll just stick them right to the bean and plop that into my bottle that way. So just put all of your beans and the seeds into the bottle and we'll carry on. Okay, so take my bean, scrape out those seeds, put it right onto the bean. It's the easiest way to get it into the bottle. Plop them in there. Make sure that you're not losing any of those seeds because that's where all the flavor is. Put them in there. Once we have our bottle full of our beans and our seeds, then we'll fill it up with the vodka. So just use a funnel, our vodka. This vodka is nothing special. It's 80 proof. You want to use alcohol because the alcohol is going to break through all of the oils in the vanilla bean and help disperse it, and it's going to carry all of the flavors. The other reason you want to use vodka is because it preserves it so that the vanilla beans and your vanilla extract will never go bad. I have some bottles that I made in 2012. And I still have them, and they're still wonderful. I never, ever, ever worry about it going bad. Fill this right up. Okay. That's great. Take that off, put the cap on, and give it a nice, good, vigorous shake. It's so fantastic. So this needs to sit on the counter in your cabinet for about 3 months. And every time you see it, just give it a little shake. That disperses all of the seeds. It helps to distribute the flavors. It helps to mature your vanilla extract. I would probably end up adding a few more beans to this. You want to have quite a few beans to get the intensity of flavor and get it to mature faster. About 3 months before this is really fully matured and it has the really great flavor and color and intensity that you want for your recipes. I'm going to show you next what to do once your vanilla is matured and you're using it and you want to replenish it. Okay, here's my vanilla extract farm. These are all the bottles that I've been making and using over the years. This bottle I started in 2012, and I have added so many beans to this bottle that I can't really jam another one in there. So I still use it because those beans still have some flavor. They still have seeds clinging to them. There's so many of them in there that I still get flavor out of it. But I have started many more, mostly to teach people how to make vanilla, but I also go through so many vanilla beans as I'm baking, and every time I scrape one and use the seeds, I throw the beans into one of my vanilla extracts, and that's how I end up with so many beans in there. And the flavor and color is so, so intense. So this is the brand new one. It's very light in color. You can still see through it. It's going to be months before this one is ready to go. But I have all of these that I can use in the meantime. So I usually suggest that you make 2 so that you're staggering them. This one I've been using a lot recently, and so it is getting down there. You don't want to get your vanilla all the way down to the bottom, otherwise you're basically starting from 0. So I've matured this one. It has lots of flavor in it. It is the right color, the right intensity, but as I use it, it's getting lower and lower, and I need to refill it with vodka. The other thing I need to do is put some more beans in there. If I just filled it up with vodka, it would dilute it so much. So I need to add more vodka, more beans, and I just keep doing that as I use my vanillas. So in goes more vodka, and then I will scrape a couple more vanilla beans and put them in there too, and that's my routine. And this will go on for years and years and years and years until you have so many beans in there you can't get any more in. Okay. And that's it. That's how you replenish your homemade vanilla extract. There you go. Fill it up with the vodka, put a couple beans in there, shake it. You've replenished it, you've added more flavor to it, and you're ready to go. This one you can continue using the whole time. After you've replenished it, you don't have to let it sit for any length of time. You can just keep using it as long as the ratio is right. As long as you've added some vodka and a couple more beans, you're good to go. Next, what I want to show you is how to make a non-alcohol based vanilla. So we've just made a vanilla extract with our vanilla beans and vodka. When you bake with your vanilla extract, the alcohol will burn off, and so you've essentially taken all of the alcohol out of the vanilla extract. So people who are nervous about baking with the vodka, it really isn't going to add any alcohol to your recipes. If you're not baking them, if it's something that's raw and unbaked, and you're adding vanilla extract and you do not want to add alcohol, I'm going to show you a couple of different options for how to have a non-alcohol based vanilla. You can either add the vanilla seeds to sugar and blend them together in a food processor, or just rub it together in your fingers. So we'll just take our vanilla bean and slice it down the length and take out those seeds, and then add it to a bowl of sugar, and then just rub the sugar and the vanilla together, and you get a vanilla scented sugar, which is dynamite, and you can use this in all of your recipes. And this will last forever, so just keep it in your cabinet. You can put it in a jar, and it's beautiful. This is essentially the same thing, but done with raw sugar. So you can flavor any kind of sugar with the vanilla beans. I'm gonna pop this bean into my jar that we just made to give it more flavor. Good shake. The other thing that you can do is use a food grade glycerin, and that's something that you can get at a drugstore, and that will suspend the vanilla seeds and make a paste. So if you've ever seen vanilla paste, it's made with a food grade glycerin. We'll do the exact same thing. We're just going to split our vanilla bean right down the length, scrape out the seeds, and then add that to our glycerin. It's you can see that I have this jar, but it's not very full because it's gonna take quite a few vanilla beans to really make a nice thick paste with this. When you do the glycerin paste, you'll use less of it than you would with a vanilla extract. So if your recipe calls for a teaspoon of vanilla extract, you'd probably use a half to a quarter teaspoon of the paste, just because it's going to be so intense with the seeds. So that's how to use a vanilla bean, how to make your vanilla extract, how to make vanilla sugar, or a non-alcoholic vanilla paste. So if you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like the video. Please tell all of your friends to watch and come back and bake with me some more.